in the briefing, they said, Nathan, we know there's IEDs in this trench system on top of this hill that we need you to clear. So obviously keep your wits about you. But then after that briefing, I was also told that, Nathan, from an intelligence briefing, I got pulled aside from the INT guys, and they said, Nathan, we know that the enemy over there know our SOPs, our standard operating procedures. So you're about to use a metal detector to find bombs that have no metal in them. Godspeed. So there I was in the middle of the night at -10, using a metal detector to clear a trench on top of this hill that I knew was probably not going to work.
And you were doing this under nods as well, so
under
limited
night vision.
Yeah.
So everything under night vision goggles. I turned right around this corner, and I literally had to clear like every like millimeter. I'm like searching and clearing, and as I was going through, I'm like kept getting so many metal hit, and it's because I kept finding 5.56 brass casings, which is the standard NATO round, which I then remembered was I was told beforehand it was the same trench that one of our mates from SOA, Rowan Robertson, was killed in, shot and killed. So obviously there I am, like trying to do my job, knowing that this is the same trench that your mate was killed, but then knowing that that very gun battle is impeding your ability to stay alive as well. This is a stressful night. Went around a corner to clear this trench, this pit, and I literally had to bash through the top nearly inch of ice to see the dirt had snapped frozen. It was that cold. My water bottle was frozen in my pocket. And as I bashed through the top inch of dirt, I remember seeing this big chunk of dirt broke free, like big chunk of ice, and in the backwards stroke of pulling that big chunk of dirt out of the way with my IED hunting tool, which is pretty much a Bunnings rake pitchfork thing. Best IED hunting tool ever. Who needs army issued intrinsically safe when you go to the local $12 Bunnings special? And as I pulled back, suddenly this package the size of a tissue box came flying out of the wall from about a meter in front of me and landed directly in front of my face. Not like the movies. And I guess no training can prepare you for a moment of complete emotional overwhelm. Instantly, I knew what it was, and it was the battery pack of an IED. I completely shut down. No thoughts, no feelings. It was just complete cognitive shutdown. What felt like eternity was probably like 30 seconds or so. I finally came back into the moment, and then I studied that red tape that was wrapped all these D-cell batteries up, and I saw the electrical wire do this perfect little loop and then run directly into the dirt and underneath me. And it was in that moment I realized that I was laying on the pressure plate or the switch of this bomb, and I had missed it. Yeah. Take 2, just full shutdown. No training prepares you for moments like this. They can train you how to be calm and use your rifle under extreme pressure, where you just drill it into habit, and you get this like neural superhighway in order to be able to perform your job and your duties. But the emotional side of the house, that's when we weren't trained at all, and how to deal with situations that literally shut you down. What felt like 30 seconds, what felt like an eternity, was another 30 seconds. I finally came back to. I felt like I had completely disassociated from my body, pretty much ready for impending doom and death. Pretty much your mind just pulls out of your body going, well, this is it, mate. I'm not going to let you be here for this. From there, obviously I came back to, training kicked in. I was just like, well, the most likely situation to switch is central to this trench. I'm going to brace myself as wide as I possibly can with my elbows and my legs, try not to touch anything I haven't touched before. I'm still alive right now. I haven't set the switch off. I don't know where it is exactly. And I managed to get up and as wide as I could this trench. I was a little bit wider than me, brace myself. There I was doing this epic plank in the middle of the night with night vision goggles over the top of a bomb, when I managed to throw myself up onto my knees. And then I was like, okay, stage 1 complete. I was like, let's take a breather, take in my surroundings. And that's when I turned around, when unbeknownst to me, 5 of my mates, commando guys that I was working with, had climbed into the trench and were sitting in the pit about 1 meter directly behind me, completely oblivious to what had just transpired. And I could still feel the tightness of my jaw as I turned around. I'm like, guys, I'm laying on an IED. Move away now. I can still see his jaw just drop open. That, as a memory to recollect on, is pretty much the most pivotal moment of that entire thing, of knowing the severity of what I was going through. And obviously, they didn't have to be told twice. They jumped ship. They up and at him pretty quickly and got out of there. And there I was, left on my own to fend for myself. I was the sacrificial lamb here. And from there, I managed to get to my feet. And then in one foul swoop, once I'd cleared out, and then I managed to jump and roll out of the trench. And I can still remember, there I am standing on top of this hill. I can see like first light slowly piercing over the horizon. I've been searching for like 3 hours when this had all happened. It has been a long night. I was tired. I stood up and I'm like, ooh. That was close. In one of the most traumatic moments of my life, that was all I had.
That was close.
That was close. I was like, no, I'm like, stuff this. I'm not dealing with this shit tonight. I'll deal with this in the morning. I'll get a tech up here. He can come up and deal with it. I'm done. I'm packing up shop. I'd found 2 that night. That was actually the second one I'd actually found. The first one was just as bad, but that's a story for another day. At dawn, a tech came up, explosive ordnance disposal. So he's like my boss guy, and he's the one who deal. My job was to find him. His job is to blow him up. Both jobs suck. Obviously, his job was to deal and play and lay over the bomb in order to explode it and get it out of the way, whereas my job was to find something that I didn't know was there yet. And then whenever a tech wasn't around, then my job was to also blow it up as well. So turns out the main switch was directly underneath my chest. It was a carbon rod pressure plate, so there was no metal signature in it. Hence how I missed it. And the thing is, though, it's funny how life works though sometimes, because the greatest sin that I committed, which was pulling the IED and removing it from its seating area, actually saved my life. And it's funny how sometimes the darkest moments is actually the greatest blessing that we'll ever have. We may not see it in the moment, but later on you finally see it, because in the end, by ripping that battery pack out, committing that greatest sin actually saved my life, because if I had taken one more bite forward, the pressure plate was underneath my chest, but I was propped up on my elbows. One more bite forward, the switch would have been underneath my waist and I would have set it off. So it actually saved my life. However, although the reality is, if I had set it off, I may still be here. And that's because the main explosive was underneath all my mates. Yeah. It was designed for the first person to set it off and take out everyone behind him. And although we all got out alive that night, for many years, I believed that I'd failed. Like, my job was to protect them from that threat, and there I was. I nearly got them all killed. And although we got out alive, I believed I failed. And I punished myself for many years post that situation, to the point where I never spoke about it. I mentioned it a couple of times when I got back from that mission, and I buried it to never speak about that incident again. It just hurt too much, the shame, the guilt, the failure. Who wants to bring up those stories and those memories of the things that we've done that are where we've, accounts of the word fucked up? They're the hardest moments for us to ever, I guess, accept and live with. But yeah, that night really messed me up. And yeah,